Well, here we are at the beginning of January and the garden's looking a bit drab. So I decided we needed a pop of color. Hey guys, and welcome back to Horticulture Geek. I'm Ray. Thank you so much for joining me here today in the garden. And that's right, we are going to be putting in a pop of color here in the garden. I've got a container that I want to do. And get it planted up with some fun, pretty winter things just to bring a pop. And we're actually going to be, it's hard to see it, but there's a pot back there on a pedestal. So I'm going to grab it and we're going to get working on it and get it switched out with a few things. So let me show you what I got. I went to the garden center and they are starting to get their winter things put out now. They're getting their fresh shipments in now that Christmas is over. So it's a good time to go get things, especially Hellebores. So let's turn around and look at this. All right, so here is my little plant haul that I got the other day. So this is a Hellebore or a Lenten rose. Beautiful plant, flowers in deep winter. Comes in different varieties, different color patterns. This one happens to be a Ice and Roses. So that's what it is. So, and regardless if your garden center calls it Hellebore or Lenten Rose, same thing. And they are just perfect for winter containers. And they are a perennial. And so you can pop them into the landscape after your container. I have done that several times. As a matter of fact, I've got several Hellebores over here in this area. And I've got some others in some containers that just stay in those containers year round. And now, in addition to that, for another pop of color, I've got this Pansy. And it doesn't have a tag on it other than the grower's tag. And then I picked up this yellow one, which is really pretty. And then I picked up a Dusty Miller, just a nice fresh silver foliage accent Dusty Miller. And then I picked up an herb because it's a fun thing to put in. So this is actually a pineapple mint, and it is a variegated mint. Now mint, as you know, if you are a gardener, is very invasive. So containers are the way to plant mint. Do not plant mint in the ground because if you do, it's going to go everywhere. So I guess if you're looking for that to happen, do it. But otherwise, I would not be putting mint in the ground. But it is perfect in containers. And as you can see, this one here has somewhat of a trailing habit. So it's going to be pretty spilling out of that container. So I think all together, I mean, it looks pretty in the box. So once we get it in the container, I think it's going to look great. So now I'm going to set up on my little work area and I'm going to grab that pot and we're going to put it together. All right, guys, here it is on its pedestal. So you'll notice from the video, I did put some biotone in here. Now that is not necessarily needed right now at wintertime. These plants are not going to be doing a lot of growing for the winter. But since this Hellebore is a perennial, the Dusty Miller is a semi-perennial for me, and the Mint is a perennial for me, I wanted to go ahead and just get some nutrients in that potting soil. It's fresh, clean potting soil, just so that those plants would have something if the roots decided to take off on me, and would still leave something in the soil for the pansies. So again, in the wintertime, things are just not growing very much, so it's not needed, but I had the biotone on hand, and I figured, what the heck. But I am pleased with how it turned out. I've still got to water it in, but you can see, I think it turned out really well. I think it looks really good. Sitting over here on the pedestal and just looking pretty in the garden this evening. And it does bring a nice pop of color and freshness over here. So that is always welcome. Well, guys, that is it for this quick project. I hope you've enjoyed it. Now, I will say that Hellebores can be expensive. So that is an investment. But when you think of it like I just did, that I'm going to pay $20 for that one plant, but that one plant is going to help me in a winter container all the way up until spring gets here, and then I'm going to put that plant into the ground and enjoy it for years to come. So I know a lot of people tend to shy away from the Hellebores because they are expensive, but they are an investment that is worth it. They are just the absolute perfect thing for beautiful winter containers to provide you with a fresh, green, flowering winter pop right now when nothing else is really flowering other than the pansies. And then you mix them with pansies to give it a textural interest. Very pretty, very worthwhile to me, in my opinion. So if you see those Hellebores out there, go ahead, snatch them up. Don't feel guilty about it. Just do it. They're perfect. I can't speak too many good things about them. They're so good. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. Maybe it has inspired you. If you've got a container sitting out there or a spot in the garden and you want to go ahead and start working in it, Hellebores, pansies, cabbages, kales, Dusty Millers, at least for me here in the South, are perfectly primed and ready to go. Start freshening up that garden, bringing in some pops and some color. So get out there and get gardening and enjoy your space, because the busy spring and the busy summer is fast approaching. So now is the perfect time just to be able to piddle in the garden and do some fun things here and there without being stressed out. So take advantage of it. If you have liked this video, hey, give me a thumbs up. I sure would appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. And if for some reason you're not subscribed to the channel by now, I don't know why you wouldn't be, because it's a pretty great channel. I suggest go ahead, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and it'll tell you every time we post something new. But until next time, guys, from my garden to yours, I wish you all the best and happy gardening.